Thanks for listening to the NVTV podcast, produced by Neuqua Media.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of the NVTV podcast. I'm Tara Unsal. On today's show, we will be talking about an upcoming spring trip to France for some Neuqua students in the French exchange program. Joining me today, we have Madam Beck, a French teacher at Neuqua who is in charge of the program, Madam Koppin, the Neuqua World Language Department Chair who will be traveling with the students, and Tiffany, one of the students who is a part of the program. Thank you all for joining me today.
It's a pleasure. Bonjour.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, of course. So this sounds like a great opportunity for the students here. But before we get into the whole idea of the trip, Madam Beck, could you please explain what the French exchange program is and how you started it?
Sure. French exchange program is generally when we welcome students from France for them to spend some time in our space, and then we go spend time in their space. So I've been wanting to do this for a while, but it's kind of hard to get it started. You have to find a school over there that's interested. And I happened to get an email last year from a tour company that specializes in exchange programs. I was like, we should check this out. So
nice.
It was kind of nice. I talked to Ms. Koppin about it, and she said, I think we should try
I
it.
think it's a fantastic idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good opportunity, especially to travel all the way to France. Mm-hmm. So how does the French exchange program benefit in terms of learning about new languages and cultures?
Sure. I really feel that even if you learn things in class about culture and language, really learning it firsthand and trying it out and hands-on experience by being dropped into a country is really the way to learn language and culture. You get to see different perspectives, different points of view, get to experience a whole different part of the world. So I think it's really a great way for our students to kind of explore their interest in French a little bit more.
Well, I know you said you had contact with a French school here, in France, which was really amazing. But how exactly did you get in contact with the school in the first place?
So the tour company found they had a couple of schools that were interested in coming to the U.S. and gave me their profiles. And I found one that I thought might be a good match for the travel dates that we had, as well as the area of France that I wanted to visit, because let's see something cool when we're in France, right? And they were interested in coming to Chicago, the Chicago area, and Naperville. So it kind of worked out mutually. That company picked that school, and then we liked each other.
Nice.
Kind of like a dating app.
So how do you guys exactly plan the schedule for the Neuqua students and the French students?
Well, actually, the program that made the match or whatever for us with the schools, they're the ones who coordinated and scheduled most of it. We did get some. Did they ask us for help with that or suggestions, or did they make all of it?
They did probably all the travel days and then the days in Chicago. Okay. But then what they really wanted us to do was plan what to do when the students were in school with us.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Mm-hmm. So, what do you guys do if there's ever a delay in the schedule, such as a delay in the flight, or if there's a delay when going to school?
Sure. Well, it's kind of nice with the exchange program. The students are all living in families, so you just kind of do whatever your family does if there's a delay at school or something like that. But if we have a travel delay, at the airport, we'll just wait.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll just be patient. If there's something traveling, maybe sometimes the train goes on strike in France, and you just kind of sit there, or you go to the nearest train station, and you wait for the next train. You just kind of have to be patient and flexible, and just know that there might be a few hiccups here and there. For us, though, on this trip, we are going to have a bus between Paris and Lille, so it'll be nice that we don't have to worry about any train strikes.
That's good.
Okay, nice. So I know that the French students, they actually already came here to America and visited Neuqua. So what certain activities do you guys do, did you guys do in America?
Well, I actually took her to a trampoline park.
Oh.
But they actually have that there, so that was kind of just a bonding thing. She wasn't really that impressed by it, so that was kind of funny. But a lot of people took their kids into Chicago. They took them to French markets and then had the French kid judge how good the baguettes actually were. So, yeah, that was kind of the funny part. honestly, like we had 10 days, so it was a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's a long time. So what do you think are like the biggest concerns you would have for this program? And if so, how would you overcome them?
Biggest concerns. The most important thing, I think, is for the students to really make personal connections with these, their families. And so it's not really a concern. It's just I'm super excited that they go and that they enjoy and that they truly feel like they can make these lifelong connections. That's the beauty of the exchange program, as opposed to just traveling, is that you're getting the insight into what it's like to live there. It's like having a travel guide, but like a personal travel guide with you all the time, that actually cares about you and that you'll keep in touch with and you'll get to know. So I don't know if that's answering the question, but like that maybe that wouldn't happen, but like that always does, and that's the best part of the exchange itself.
I think the biggest mental thought went into matching the students' profiles. We had profiles, the American profiles and the French profiles, and we read them, and we're like, okay, this student likes this. We sat together.
Right,
we were taking notes on Post-its. This student likes this, this, and this, and this student's like this, this, and this, and okay, we can match these two together. And then there were a couple things we had to refine, like maybe I missed, like there might be an allergy somewhere, and so like, I got to think about that one again. That was probably, it's like making a seating chart at a wedding. It was really...
You hope that the chemistry's there. Like, you can read the statistics or the stats about what they like and what they don't like. But, yeah, like, I just hope that it's a real match or a
Absolutely.
good match.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's great. You get to match them all, and they get to get along, especially they get along. That's great, especially when they go back to France. It's going to be even better. So, but I want to know, when they came to America, what do you think there were, like, what specific cultural differences do you think they noticed when they came here?
I was going to say...
The food.
Yeah,
the food.
But it's also the schedule of the food. So, like, a lot of French people don't eat a lot of breakfast. And I know that we talked about that, like, the Americans talked about that. That difference was really, like, obvious to them, where, like, they just don't eat. And then, like, we have, like, a whole meal, and they thought that was really weird. Yeah. And then also, like, in school, we eat lunch at, like, 10:15, or I do. So,
Yeah.
and they thought that was atrocious. So,
Yes.
We talked a lot about the amount of food, too. Like, the portion sizes are just so much bigger. And so,
yeah, was there
I heard that a
anything?
lot.
Yeah. So was there anything, like, school-related? Like, not directly food, but, like, school, like, cultural differences?
Absolutely.
They noticed?
They were really interested in, well, from the teacher's perspective, the teacher thought that the way we let our students interact with us freely in class would never work in France. It's very quiet notes. You get called on, you answer the question. And here, it's much more collaborative and spontaneous and a kind of a teamwork environment. So school-wise, I think that was very different. I know some of the students mentioned that was kind of an odd environment for them as well. They weren't sure how that worked. They're like, this would never fly in France. But as far as like just outside culture, they were super impressed by how big everything was in Chicago. They're like, wow, look at those skyscrapers. 'Cause there really aren't a lot of skyscrapers in France, and most of them are in Paris. And if you don't, they're 3 hours away from Paris. So it wasn't a commonplace thing. They were just really impressed with how big it was. But how Chicago didn't feel big, but it was big.
Oh, that's nice when they came to Chicago. So, sorry. When the students actually go to France, do you guys mind specifically telling what exactly you guys plan to do there?
Yeah, sure. We're going to land in Paris. We're going to spend 2 days in Paris first just to kind of see the sights. It's hard to go to France without going to Paris. So we'll do a little bit of sightseeing. We're going to stay at a hotel. We're going to eat some great food. We're going to walk around and use the metro, visit some monuments, go to the Louvre, see the Eiffel Tower, go up to the top of the Eiffel Tower. And then we're going to go to a small town called Bondoux, which is just outside of Lille. So it's in kind of northeast part of France, really close to Belgium. And that's where we're going to meet the host families, and we'll kind of live with them. We'll go to school a couple of days, like a day and a half, and we've got a day trip into Old Lille to see all the history there. And then we have a day trip into Belgium. We're going to go to a town called Bruges, which is really beautiful. I have some fun scavenger hunts planned for that trip. I think it'll be great. But Bruges is really pretty. And then we'll come back. So it's kind of a quick trip. We get home on Sunday, and school starts right again on Monday. So I know I'll be here.
I'll be here.
I cannot say this.
Oh, that sounds so fun. So, back to America, when the French students did visit here, I'd like to ask Tiffany, when you were hosting for the French students, what would you say was the hardest part when trying to invite them to your house?
Honestly, for me, she slept, this is sound weird, but she slept in my basement, but it's a finished basement, so it's fine. But so it was kind of we had our separate spaces. So then figuring out how often to kind of hang out, sometimes she needed her own time, in the evenings, if I was just watching TV or something, if she wanted to join me, or if she wanted to read a book downstairs or something, trying to figure out how much time, we needed for each other.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Did it get easier over the week?
And then the other thing is you can't just live with someone and immediately click with them in the first day. It takes a few days too. So it was I know a lot of people said that too. In the last few 4 days or something, it was just so much better. It was so much fun.
Do you guys still keep in touch?
She actually texted me 20 minutes ago.
Really?
Yeah. She said, "Hey." I said, "Hi."
Oh, that's so nice. All right. Well, I'm very excited for you guys to go to France. But before anything, what is something any of you guys would advise for any Neuqua students here who are considering of hosting for a foreign exchange student here?
I think I would say definitely do it. I've worked with families from Neuqua in the past who have hosted summer exchange students for a couple of weeks, and they've built some lifelong connections and have now been back and forth to France with those families for years and years now. It really can add a whole nother element to your family life and open up a whole nother opportunity to travel, opportunity to see the world, opportunity to experience another culture that can really be enriching, just to meet new people. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, an exchange program is something that you'll never duplicate in any other situation or context. And so it's, I grew up with that. My family had exchange program. I was in an exchange program as a student in college, and it's just so unique because you really get to know people. And like Madame Beck said, it's a lifelong friendship, and it's an insight into another country way more, valuable, but more enriching than just simply going to visit and being at the train station. You actually get to be with the people, and it's definitely worth it to have someone in your home as an exchange student.
Yeah. What is something you would change if you were trying to like host another for foreign exchange student?
I think like something that a lot of us learned was like setting up kind of not boundaries but like guidelines for like, like this is what we do in the morning, and like this is like what you can do to like if you give them options and like let them pick and like kind of accommodate themselves so that everyone's just comfortable.
All right, nice. Well, once again, I'm so excited. I'm excited for you guys when you guys go to France, so hopefully you guys have a fun time. And thank you, Madam Beck, Madam Koppin, and Tiffany for joining us today on the NVTV podcast. The NVTV podcast is produced by media students at Neuqua Valley High School. Enjoy the rest of your day.